Hi, and welcome to Dad's Divorce Live on DadsDivorce.com. My name is Rick Ortiz with DadsDivorce.com. Today we're going to be speaking with Michael Robinson, who is the Legislative Representative and Policy Consultant for FathersandFamilies.org. Michael has worked together with the American Bar Association on federal military parent legislation. Partly due to his work and FathersandFamily.org's work, the National Defense Reauthorization Act, H.R. 2647, which was signed by President Obama in October of 2009, mandates that the Secretary of Defense produce a report on child custody litigation involving members of the armed forces, as well as international intrafamilial abductions of service members' children. The Secretary of Defense will submit this report to the Armed Services Committee of the Senate and the House of Representatives by the end of March. This is a problem that affects both fathers and mothers who are serving in the military. And if you're a military mother or father whose custody rights have been adversely affected due to your service, this is a show that you're going to want to pay close attention to. Michael, welcome to DadsDivorce.com.
Hey, thank you very much.
Let's start a little bit by talking about what the problem is that you're addressing with H.R. 2647.
Well, Rick, the big issue here is this has been an ongoing problem for a long time, and as far as military service personnel being deployed and then having to return only to fight for something that they already had before they left. And, it just doesn't make sense that if somebody has an existing custody order, that once they return home, they have to fight for something that they already had before they left when they're going off to serve this country. And we started the first fight here in California back in 2005 and have tried to stay on the issue. Thanks to Representative Turner, or Mike Turner out of Ohio, who carried an amendment back in 2007 and then 8. There was some limited protection put into the Service Member Civil Relief Act. There's been enough pressure because enough states have started to change their statutes and adding something into their family law code sections addressing this issue. It's becoming more apparent that there needs to be stronger protection at the federal level for all 50 states. The Turner Amendment, which was actually carried by Ike Skeleton this year, was put in, but it got lost in conference committee. It would have really beefed up the federal protection. But the one thing that did come out of it was this mandated report, and we're hoping, and I would encourage any listeners that if they know of any military service personnel, to make sure that they go to the Fathers and Families website. If they're a military service member, they've been involved in custody litigation as a direct result of being deployed, that they go to the Fathers and Families website and fill out the form there. And we're trying to do our part to make sure that that federal, that mandated report doesn't get watered down, that the real problems are exposed.
Right. Now, before we started taping, you told me a little bit about the numbers of people that are involved in the military who have some type of custody arrangements. What were the numbers of parents who are divorced or separated or not married?
Well, it's approximately 170,000 parents with some form of a custody order, timeshare order. It could be as a custodial parent, it could be as a non-custodial parent with a timeshare. And it shouldn't make any difference what that order is, whether they're custodial parent or they're the non-custodial parent.
Sure.
If they're a non-custodial parent with a 30% timeshare, when they come home, they should still have that 30% timeshare.
Is there a common thread of what goes wrong as far as custody being usurped when a parent goes away to serve in the military? Is there a typical template of how that time with the child can be taken away?
Well, typically speaking, in general, most of these cases the non-military parent generally knows beforehand that the military parent is going to be deployed.
Right.
And generally speaking, what happens is the non-military parent waits until the very last minute, when there's no time to do anything, and tries to file a motion to change custody, or even worse, they wait until after they're deployed and then go in and seek a vacation of an existing order. Mm-hmm. Now, it wouldn't be unusual or unfair to say that a court can make a temporary order, okay, mm-hmm. pending the return, but it would only be reasonable that once that military parent has returned home, that things should go back exactly the way they were, unless there's clear and convincing evidence to show that it wouldn't be in the child's best interest. And the only circumstances that I can imagine that would rise to that level is that the deployed parent wound up injured so seriously that they're no longer capable of functioning as a parent any longer. One of the big things that we're trying to say is that a lot of times there are step-parents involved in these cases of the children, and there's also half-brothers and sisters involved in a lot of these cases, and the children have formed bonds with their half-brothers and sisters. And one of the things that a court can consider is that allowing the step-parent to exercise that deployed member's timeshare, even if the deployed member is not the custodial parent. Say they have a 30% or 40% timeshare. Mm-hmm. If the court's going to make a temporary order, it would only make sense to allow the step-parent or grandparent to exercise that deployed military service member's time. And the advantage, if they do need to make a temporary order, of having the current step-parent or a grandparent exercise that deployed member's time, it increases the likelihood that that child is going to be able to stay connected with their deployed parent via the internet, webcams, phone calls, so on and so forth. A judge could issue a temporary order saying that the other parent has to allow these communications to take place so many times a week. But are they really going to really do it? Right. Too often do we see we didn't get back in time for the phone call, or so on and so on. And they make all kinds of excuses. And a lot of times is what happens is after that deployed parent has been gone for a year, 14 months, or whatever length of the deployment was, well, then they start to use the argument, the child's no longer is bonded with that child and with that parent, and they try to use that against them. It would be easier to create an order where you've got a grandparent or a second spouse who's actually exercising that timeshare.
I want to thank Michael Robinson, who is the legislative representative and policy consultant for fathersandfamilies.org, for speaking to us today about how to ensure that your role in your child's life remains intact while you're deployed. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Rick.
And we will have the websites that Michael mentioned listed on our site for you. We want to thank you for tuning in to Dad's Divorce live on DadsDivorce.com. For DadsDivorce.com, I'm Rick Ortiz. Thank you.
Broken pipe, broken tools, people bending